What up guys, SueMetal983 here to bring you another album review, and this time we're going to touch upon some great deathcore, quality deathcore in 2020, but I've got a friend here to arise.
Hello!
A friend here to help me do this review. This is Tom from my band Tephra. Check us out, link down below. We've got an EP coming very soon. And we're here to talk about the new Lorna album, which is called Immortal, and it's the band's third full-length album. Now, if you're not too familiar with Lorna, they are a four-piece Blackened deathcore band, and they are definitely one of the pioneering bands of the style, and have definitely grown accustomed to the deathcore fans around the world, if you ask me. With the release, my initial inception of the band was their second EP entitled Wyattxhim, which to me is still one of the best deathcore EPs in existence. Yes, it's Blackened, but it is so good. Would you agree?
Oh, Christ, yeah, that EP was a really good starting point for them.
And
but for me, it was...
Airtight, so good.
But for me, it was definitely coming in with Godmaker on the Psalms.
Yeah.
Like, oh...
I absolutely
love that album so much.
Yeah, Psalms, for me anyway, it wasn't as good as Wyattxhim because I was still in love, like literally in love with that EP. Like, every time I put on Psalms, I would just go, nah, Wyattxhim. Yeah, it's still a good album and a good album to listen to. It's just not quite as good in my opinion. I think it's the weakest of their discography. I know they've got a debut EP, but I can't remember its title, and I've never listened to it, personally.
What about Flesh Coffin?
But Flesh Coffin, their second album, is, wow, yeah. I think that came out in 2017? I think it was 2017.
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah, it was 2017, because it was the same year that Self-Supremacy came out, and
Killer
Flesh Coffin, in my opinion, is one of the best, in my opinion, deathcore albums, period. Like, that album really changed the perspective on deathcore in general for me, because it really encapsulated a lot more than just deathcore. It actually brought in some true TRVE, true black metal elements from the likes of like Emblem, Immortal, stuff like that, to bring a new lease of life to Blackened deathcore, because it had been experimented in the genre before, but it's not to this level. And I think Tom Barber, especially on that record, just sounds just so demented and twisted in just all senses of the words. Like, in my opinion, I think it's a great album. Funeral Moon, I mean. Funeral Moon.
Doesn't get much better than that, like.
Oh, yeah.
It really showed the deathcore scene that this can be done. Like,
it definitely explored a lot more dynamics to the genre, that it's not just ones and zeros. You know what I mean? It could bring other things.
Octaves going.
It's just unreal, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But obviously the band took a little bit of a change in the lineup when Tom decided to part ways. I think it was actually not too long after the tours that they'd done for Flesh Coffin, and the band. Tom later moved to Chelsea Green, which I think I've reviewed. What's the album called? It's gone from us.
Eternal Nightmare.
Eternal Nightmare. I think I've reviewed that on the channel. Not too sure, but if I haven't, sorry.
I adore that album.
But yeah, that album is great, and Tom, I think, came into his own a little bit more on that one, and he suited the style. So the transition was good. Yeah. But what was in wake for Lorna in this transition of lineups, and the rumours started to spread that CJ McCreary, who was in Signs of the Swarm, was jumping ship to join Lorna and David Simonik was taking over Signs of the Swarm. Simonik. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And now, for me anyway, I'd seen David's like videos on like Instagram and stuff, and thought he might be a good fit, but I would like to see what he sounds like. And I've reviewed that album on the channel, so if you want to hear more, definitely check that one out. I think that was actually my last review that I did.
At first I wasn't I wasn't really taken by David, but then
No, I wasn't either.
But then that album came out, Vital Deprivation. Just
yeah,
my word.
Yeah, definitely.
And then seeing them live, eesh.
But then obviously in that week, Lorna released This Is Hell. And that was the beginning of the teasing of what Immortal could be, you know. And obviously they hadn't announced the album at that point. They released This Is Hell and then released Darkest Spawn. And it really gave you a sense of what Lorna was going to create on this new album. And I felt quite excited for it. I thought it was definitely a more chaotic style to what Lorna was doing before. Flesh Coffin was great, but I felt like they were pushing it even more for like what was going to come next.
Yeah.
And then Darkest Spawn came out, and to be honest, I kind of hated that single.
Yeah, it was very underwhelming.
Like,
at
couldn't
first.
Stand it, but
I'm going to like it now, though. It's warmed up to me a bit.
And then, obviously, they announced the album, which is Immortal, with that gorgeous artwork I might as well add. Love it. And this came out this year, and in my opinion, on first listen, it actually did really surprise us. But obviously, before we touch on that, we've obviously got to address the elephant in the room, and that is CJ obviously getting kicked out of the band. I think it was 2 weeks before the album was due to drop, and obviously no one knew if the album was going to be delayed, whether they were going to re-record the vocals, whether they were going to still release it. No one knew what was happening, but there was some real shady shit going on there. Not from Lorna Shaw's perspective, and that's what we need to address here, is the fact that, yes, CJ has probably done some messed up shit, but it shouldn't deter away from the fact that the other guys, and even CJ at the time, give their heart and soul into this album, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to call him every name under the sun, like he's a piece of shit and what have you. We're here to talk about what could, in short perspective, be one of the best deathcore albums to start off the new decade, should we just say.
For sure. I mean, Austin and Adam have very clearly put a lot of heart and soul into this record.
Yeah, you can tell that because like
it's just massive. Every song just sounds massive with like the massive like orchestras and synths. I
think that is definitely the newer element that I can hear on this album compared to Flesh Coffin. They were taking it quite melodic and still frantic in their sound that they've always done, but this album, adding those symphonic elements, just makes it feel, I don't know, it feels a little bit more claustrophobic when you listen to it, in the best possible way, I might as well add. And I'm a massive fan of the likes of Dimmu Borgir and Cradle of Filth, those really symphonic black metal, bands. I know people say that's a sin to call Cradle of Filth black metal, but fuck it up. But I've always loved that sort of stuff, and to hear it, like, it's been done before on deathcore records, but this is like the icing on the cake to make the truest of sound for Blackened deathcore, in my personal view. And I think that's what makes this album really special and something very wow to listen to. It is a very epic album. It's not just breakdowns with black metal chords going over. There is a lot of thought and attention to the structure, the musicianship, the frantic parts, the stabby breakdowns, even the gut rolls.
There's even some slams in here.
Yeah, there's slams, and it's the whole package, in my personal opinion. This is, in my opinion, a deathcore album that black metal fans will like, and there's loads of people probably going to be in the comments just saying, nope. But I honestly, truly believe that Immortal has a special place in the deathcore circuit for that, and
it's got everything to offer, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it has. The musicianship is just another level compared to what I was expecting. Like, just to kind of touch upon the CJ thing a little bit. Going into this album, you did kind of feel a bit filthy listening to it.
Apprehensive.
It felt wrong to listen to it.
Should I like this? Should I not?
It's one of those things. But when you realise, like Tom said, that the other members and CJ did put their heart and soul into it, so it shouldn't deter away from it. And that's why I feel like this album needs to get the appreciation it deserves, because the songs on this album are absolutely incredible. From Immortal up until Relentless Torment, it is absolute relentlessness from beginning to end. The breakdowns make you pull a stink face, like, every time they hit you. And especially with CG's messed up, like I said, Tom had the demented, twisted sort of vocals, but these just seem a little bit more depraved and a bit more sadistic in their, like, delivery. I mean, obviously, you've got, like, elements, like, on This Is Hell with, like, immense guttural ferocity behind
breakdown,
it.
man.
Yeah, it's just, it's the stuff of nightmares, to be fair.
Like, Tom Barber, I felt was a lot more dynamic. He had a lot of he had a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and he could do a lot of things. While CJ, because he comes from, like, the slam background with Signs, that just means that he's got the brutal juice to put on the breakdowns. And it's just
it's like it's like the symphonic elements behind the guitars. It's adding something to it. The guttural and more, sick, twisted vocals that you were saying, they do sprinkle a little bit more on, like the symphonics do.
The brutal juice.
The brutal juice sprinkles on.
What was that really old dead meme?
The Italian grip.
Yeah,
it's just sprinkled on it, and it just makes it just push the envelope with the band. And
I mean, despite what CJ's done, you credit where credit's due.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting to listen to, and I for one think we're only in March, and this is already one of the best, if not the best, deathcore album I've heard in 2019. 2020 so far. Like, this is.
Are you okay, dude?
Yeah, I'm
okay?
good.
Are you sure?
I'm good. I need to travel forward in time, back in time. So yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the best records I've heard so far this year. And yes, with all the messed upness covering it, if you can sweep that aside, like we've managed to do, you can see that this is an absolutely fantastic record to listen to.
Yeah.
It's got everything.
What's your highlights?
My highlights would definitely be This Is Hell. Honestly, Darkest Phone has become one of my favourites. And just Warpath of Disease. Just for that little moment of just... just that moment, I think we were in the car going to it, and we were just like, that is amazing.
Rewind, just 10 seconds, do it again.
10 seconds back.
Do it again.
I think we did it about 4 times, and we're just like, it's still not bad.
What
would your highlight be?
For me, I mean, I fell in love with This Is Hell from the moment I heard it, with that sort of, like, ever so slight delay in the guttural before the breakdown.
Yeah.
Like Brand of Sacrifice did it as well. Fucking awesome breakdown on that song. Then for me, the title track, I love the title track.
Oh, the title track is really, really good.
Death Portrait was a highlight for me. And I'm growing back, like you said, I'm growing back to Darkest Spawn, but I can't really pick my all-time favourite. I'm going to have to go with This Is Hell. I mean, that might just be because
I would still say This Is Hell, yeah. For me, even in general, I've listened to this album on repeat quite a lot, and I still feel like This Is Hell was the strong song to start off with. And they did release them at the right time, I would say. But yeah, I definitely think this is an absolutely fantastic album in deathcore. I'd definitely say if you're a fan of the bands that we've mentioned, Signs of the Swarm, Shadow of Intent, and I would say personally Dimmu Borgir. If you're a fan of any of those bands, this is definitely an album for you, and it is an absolute banger if you ask me, and a highlight in 2020. I can see it come December when I do my top albums. This will be up there. For an overall score though, I think I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10. A solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to really find something about it that is like a subtraction, but I'm drawing a blank on faults really, except for there was a few songs which I felt were just not bad, just sleepers.
Yeah.
But I don't recall
Anything that will put you off listening to it.
I don't know. I think Obsession fell a bit flat, but that's it. That's literally all I can really find with this album.
Yep. So if you haven't heard it now, make sure you check out Lorna Shaw's new album, Immortal, released under Century Media Records. Check this shit out. And as I think we're agreeing, 9 out of 10.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And thanks for having Tom on. Thanks very much, man.
Love you, man.
We'll try and get him on in the future if you like his... Yeah, I'll leave a link to your Instagram.
Oh, God.
And his OnlyFans as well.
Oh, hell yeah. You need to see some of that shit, yeah.
So I'll see you until the next video. Or remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.
Bye.